The Halifax Explosion, 1917. The Halifax Explosion, which occurred on December 6, 1917, remains one of the largest non-nuclear explosions ever recorded. This catastrophic event devastated the Canadian port city of Halifax, Nova Scotia, claiming nearly 2,000 lives, injuring over 9,000, and leaving tens of thousands homeless. Born out of the collision of two ships, one carrying a volatile cargo of explosives, the disaster profoundly altered the city and its people, leaving lasting lessons and a legacy of resilience. Halifax, during World War I, was an essential hub for the Allies, playing a critical role in the logistics of military convoys crossing the Atlantic. Its harbour was alive with activity, hosting both naval and merchant vessels, making it a strategic but crowded wartime port. At the heart of Halifax Harbour were two key zones: the Bedford Basin, where ships assembled, and the Narrows, a tight strait connecting the basin to the open sea. Despite strict navigation rules, the harbour's chaotic traffic set the stage for miscommunication and eventual calamity. Of the two vessels involved, the SS Mont-Blanc, a French cargo ship, carried a deadly payload of 2,300 tons of picric acid, 200 tons of TNT, 10 tons of nitrocellulose, and 35 tons of benzyl, a flammable liquid stored in barrels on the deck. The second ship, SS Imo, a Norwegian vessel, was on a humanitarian mission to deliver wartime relief supplies to Belgium. What unfolded between the Mont-Blanc and the Imo was a tragic confluence of communication failures, human error, and an unforgiving harbour. At 8:45 a.m., Mont-Blanc and Imo collided in the Narrows. The impact caused the barrels of benzol on the Mont-Blanc to break, leading to a fire that engulfed the deck. A thick, ominous column of black smoke began rising into the air, warning of impending disaster. Alarmed, the Mont-Blanc's crew quickly abandoned ship as the blazing vessel drifted closer to Halifax's busy waterfront. At 9:04 a.m., just 19 minutes after the collision, the Mont-Blanc's cargo detonated. The explosion was cataclysmic, releasing energy equivalent to 2.9 kilotons of TNT, devastating everything within a 1.2-mile radius. Entire neighborhoods were leveled, and the explosion's shockwaves shattered windows up to 50 miles away. Debris rained down across Halifax and its surroundings, with some fragments hurled as far as 2 miles. The sound of the blast reverberated as far as Cape Breton and Prince Edward Island. The explosion's force also triggered a tsunami within the harbour, engulfing low-lying areas and sweeping victims and debris into the sea. Fires erupted across the city, consuming wooden structures and complicating rescue efforts as survivors struggled to comprehend the unimaginable devastation. The explosion's aftermath revealed a scene of utter ruin. Entire sections of Halifax, including the Richmond district, were reduced to rubble, with streets indistinguishable under heaps of wreckage. Fires burned for days, adding further destruction to an already decimated cityscape. The human toll was staggering. Nearly 2,000 people were killed, many of them instantly, and over 9,000 sustained injuries. Flying glass alone blinded hundreds, revealing the devastating power of the shockwave as it shattered windows and hurled fragments into terrified citizens. Around 12,000 buildings were destroyed, leaving 25,000 people homeless overnight in freezing December temperatures. Secondary disasters compounded the tragedy. The tsunami swept away homes and people who had sought shelter near the waterfront, while chaos engulfed overwhelmed hospitals and emergency response systems. The city found itself paralyzed, struggling to mobilize under such catastrophic conditions. In the explosion's immediate aftermath, Halifax's citizens and surviving authorities sprang into action, displaying remarkable bravery amidst the chaos. Survivors worked tirelessly to rescue trapped individuals, often using bare hands and makeshift tools. Hospitals overflowed with the wounded, and makeshift clinics sprang up in schools and churches to treat the injured. Medical personnel worked around the clock to meet the overwhelming demand for care, despite being critically short on supplies. The arrival of aid from Boston, Massachusetts provided a turning point in Halifax's recovery. Within hours of the explosion, Boston mobilized medical teams, supplies, and financial assistance. Each year, Halifax sends a Christmas tree to Boston as a gesture of appreciation and remembrance. The Canadian and British militaries stationed nearby also played crucial roles in relief operations. They established temporary shelters to house those displaced by the disaster and coordinated efforts to clear debris and extinguish fires. Financial support was distributed to survivors, while local and international communities alike contributed generously to aid Halifax in its moment of need. The enormity of the disaster demanded answers, but assigning blame proved complex. Investigations revealed that navigational errors and miscommunication between the Mont-Blanc and Imo had caused the collision. Critically, the Mont-Blanc's crew had not disclosed the nature of their explosive cargo to harbour authorities or other ships, leaving them unprepared for the risks. Though legal proceedings were initiated, no one party bore sole responsibility. Both ship captains and their harbour pilots faced inquiries, and while criticisms were levelled at them, the shared blame and wartime pressures led to no significant legal consequences. Nevertheless, the disaster exposed systemic flaws in harbour management and wartime maritime practices. Rebuilding Halifax began almost immediately, spearheaded by local efforts and bolstered by international support. The city's reconstruction introduced stricter building codes to improve safety and resilience in the face of similar disasters. Modern urban planning principles reshaped Halifax, ensuring wider roads, sturdier structures, and better fire response capabilities. On a larger scale, the Halifax explosion served as a wake-up call for maritime safety worldwide. Regulations governing the transport of hazardous materials were tightened, while communication and navigation protocols in busy ports were greatly improved. The incident underscored the need for transparency regarding dangerous cargo, ensuring that authorities take adequate preventive measures. The resilience of Halifax's community became an enduring symbol of strength in the face of adversity. The people of the city demonstrated remarkable unity during the recovery process, leaning on each other for support and sharing in the work of rebuilding lost homes, businesses, and lives. Their efforts turned a devastated port city into a thriving community once more. Halifax honors the memory of the nearly 2,000 people who lost their lives through various memorials and annual commemorations. Among these is the Halifax Explosion Memorial Bell Tower at Fort Needham Memorial Park, where the victims are remembered and their stories preserved. Each year on December 6th, ceremonies take place throughout Halifax to reflect on the tragedy, celebrate the resilience of the survivors, and pay tribute to the sacrifices of those who responded heroically. The cultural impact of the explosion endures through countless books, documentaries, and works of art, keeping the events of that fateful day alive for future generations. The lasting cultural significance of the Halifax explosion extends beyond Canada. It serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility and unpredictability of life, as well as the need for vigilance and preparation to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The disaster's tale of hardship and recovery has universal resonance, inspiring people worldwide with its themes of endurance and solidarity. The Halifax explosion of 1917 shattered the city and heart of Halifax, but revealed the unyielding spirit of its people. The disaster, born of wartime chaos and human error, left devastating scars, but also spurred monumental efforts in relief, reconstruction, and reform. The legacy of the explosion lies not just in the dark reminder of its destruction, but in the resilience and humanity that rose in its wake. Through memorials and continual reflection, Halifax and the global community honor the lessons of this tragic chapter. The improved maritime practices it inspired ensure that its mistakes are not repeated, while its stories of heroism and unity remain timeless lessons in overcoming adversity. Halifax rebuilt itself from the ashes, standing today as a symbol of fortitude and hope.